this year.
Well, I really think Doug's back in the ball game because he didn't get in on the third down play on the goal line. I think he was upset that he wasn't able to punch it in. Had they punched it in, as you see, the ball's overthrown. Casola can't make the catch. I think he was back in the game on this series as a statement. He wanted to come back in and make the play. Super effort by Casola to make the catch, just overthrown. But I think that Flutie should be on the sideline right now. He took a heck of a hit on the bootleg play.
So Vanderjagt comes on to try a 21-yarder as the Winnipeg defense has come up big in the second half, and Vanderjagt misses this to the right. So all the Argos have to show in the second half are 2 singles, one on a missed field goal, the other on a kickoff.
Well, one of the things you can see about Jeff Reinbold, he's an emotional guy. He says yesterday, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't hide them. He's walking across. They missed that field goal. He's happy, and he's going right over to Toronto. In your face, Toronto. Let's bring it on, baby. Let's brawl some more.
And Chris, I'm over on the Argo bench, and the Winnipeg crowd is in an ugly mood here because Flutie is still in the game. On the previous series, Flutie was mocking the crowd by cupping his hands behind his ears as they repeated and yelled things at him that I can't tell you here on television.
But that's why Reinbold made the gesture to the Argo bench. You know, they go for it, third down in the third quarter. They're trying to run it up, and the Bombers aren't letting them, and it makes for an interesting sidebar in a 41-7 game.
Well, I think that's the key statement there, and the fact that you want to get your team to feel as fired up as you are. I mean, get that hatred going. See what they're trying to do. They're actually coming in your home turf, your park, and trying to rub your face in it. It's like walking in a pasture and having someone shove your head into droppings. It's not a nice thing. You got to get this fixed, man.
I was worried about where you were going on that.
Yeah. Oh, don't be worried.
Well, the second half, if you're scoring at home, is 2-0 Toronto. 41-7 in the game, but the Argos wanted to run it up on Jeff Reinbold, and the Bombers are playing tough in the second half. Here's Montgomery. Broke a tackle. And he's still going. Down to the Argo 46. Well, he's broken a couple today.
You know, getting back to Toronto, trying to run the score up here a little bit. You got to remember that Adam Rita and Don Matthews go way back. They're very close friends. And don't mistake that for anything more than it's worth. And it's worth saying that he came in here to put one on Reinbold for his buddy.
I know Doug before the game talked about the fact that no one was talking about the game, but here's Montgomery again. Big yardage. First down inside the 35. It was all the side issues like the Davis hit and Flutie and Mazzotti's comments about laying a trouncing on the Bombers were played up here. They called Doug the Golden Boy here in Winnipeg this week.
Take a look at Mike Mihalik, just doing a great job. And I mean, this is something that I know it's easy to say now when you're down this much, but you got to stay with your ground game, especially as the weather becomes a factor in this part of the year. Stay with it.
First down, McDougall play action, flag down. Here's O'Bannon, and he's bumped out of bounds, but a holding call upcoming against Winnipeg.
Well, big Dave Van Coen in the center just does a lasso on Rob Waldrop and actually flips him right over, right in front of the referee, right beside McDougall's feet. You know you can't get away with that. They got him there.
Now you see the holding call, and here it is, Chris.
Well, you can see it exactly right there. Waldrop just a really nice job of going one way and coming back the other on Dave Van Coen. And Dave, to his defense, is trying to keep anybody off McDougall. Doesn't want him to take a shot because of his knee is still not 100%, so he decides, I'm going to drag him down.
Waldrop playing at 20 pounds heavier than last year when he was an All-Canadian. Here's McDougall looking downfield for Stiegel. Jump ball. Stiegel's got it at the 15. Well, the leading receiver in the CFL comes up smiling, and they're getting them the football a little bit more in this game.
Well, he's covered pretty well by Charles Anthony. Lester Smith is going to come over the top for free safety, and this is just all Milt Stiegel going up over the top of a 6'3" halfback to make the play. I tell you, he dropped the football earlier, a fumble, but I continue to try to get 85 the ball. He's really the only guy that's going to make a play catching the football.
And Stiegel over 100 yards, 111 on the day. Here's Montgomery, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Tyrone Montgomery, prior to that carry, 93 yards. So he's looking for his first CFL century.
And your fullback is a key on any running play. And Bruce Boyko just gets smashed at the point of attack, knocked back into the backfield, disrupts Montgomery's field of vision, and in effect stuffs the play.
Montgomery had 91 yards in his first CFL start against Montreal, so he has a season high. 2nd and 9. McDougall behind Graham, incomplete. And now it's 3rd down.
And I think they got to go for it here, Chris. I mean, let's build on something positive. We talked about they're starting to move the ball. They had some nice runs there. Keep it going.
Well, Jeff Reinbold said yesterday, we're not going to play close to the vest. We're going to play full out. Every time out, that's the only way we're going to develop as a team. So 3rd and 9. They will shun the easy field goal and go for it. Here comes the rush. McDougall into the end zone. Incomplete. Was looking for O'Bannon, and they'll turn it over on downs. So 5:09 to go here in the 4th quarter in Winnipeg. 41-7, the Argos lead.
You're hurting, puppy.
That white-brown stripe means we're in for a harsh winter.
No, mild winter.
Wait, it's the black stripes, which means blizzards.
While opinions on the weather have differed, folks have always agreed Lennox is the name to trust for heating and cooling.
Let's ask Dave.
And you can still count on Lennox today, even if you can't count on the forecast.
Got a question, boys?
Never mind.
Lennox, one less thing to worry about.
These are identical homes. The only difference is the house on the left has glass fiber insulation. The house on the right has weather shield wall bar insulation. The owner of this house will save up to 50% on their heating bill. That's right, cut your heating costs in half. Over 1 million Canadian homes, agricultural and commercial buildings, have insulated with weather shield wall bar. Weather shield wall bar outperforms glass fiber insulation, and that saves you money. We guarantee it. Call 1-800-925-5657 now and start saving money today.
See the Grey Cup up close and personal with Certified Rentals. Enter to win a VIP trip for 2 to the 97 Grey Cup at any Certified Rentals outlet. Certified Rentals, the big help for the big job. The big help for the small job, too. Our 24-hour response network reaches across BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario. You get first-class equipment and service 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We're here when you call. Visit Certified Rentals today and enter to win that trip for 2 to the 97 Grey Cup.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. We'd like to... What? Welcome back to Winnipeg. There's the new CFL on CBC halftime set we've been working on. Actually, it's the rigging for the Rolling Stones concert. Mick Jagger and the team coming here Tuesday night in Winnipeg. And there's our Mick Jagger standing right now. Neil Carlton, the cameraman. Back to you guys.
Well, the home fans haven't got no satisfaction so far today, but it's been a much more interesting second half. There's Pinball spinning off a tackle up to the 20-yard line. It's a 34-point game. The Argos in complete control, but the second half has been a more interesting battle between the two clubs.
You can see Toronto's going 145 to Winnipeg's 55 points during the season. You're not going to win that many games with that wide a spread.
20,000 looking on here. We've seen the Argos outscore the Bombers 2-0 in the second half. Clements inside, nailed by D. Osborne.
You know, and Dave, I am kind of questioning this myself. You brought this up earlier. Why is Doug Flutie still in the game now? Can you, I mean, I agree with you 100%. You can't take a chance on this guy taking a shot. And
Well, if he's going to hand the football off, he's fine, which he did there twice. My question now is, why is Pinball Clemens in the game? Why is Matt DeBuck not in the game getting a chance to play? These are guys that, this is a good football team, and they have not had injuries all year long. All of a sudden, you lose a couple people as you make your stretch drive to the playoffs, and this team changes dramatically.
I agree with you 100%. I want to know why Don Matthews is not returning my phone calls.
You know, Don Matthews has been very consistent on this point, though, and he will argue with anybody that talks about this. He says, I do not think about injuries. I do not anticipate injuries. We go out and play between the lines for 60 minutes.
And they have a whole lot of fun doing it.
In fact, Andre Ware has probably got more playing time this year than the backup behind Flutie did last year. Ware, of course, played the last quarter and a half of the 66-25 game. It does not look like he's getting ready to come in.
It's a heck of a helmet, though. They still got to get some production from that offense, or it's going to be a long remainder of the season for this team.
And probably important to underscore, I don't think the Argos have called off the Dogs here. I mean, they've been trying to score here in the second half.
I mean, it's been a war in there. And this team, if it didn't have any hatred for each other before, and, you know, they are quickly developing into being one of the rivalries. I just think that Winnipeg has got to get nastier. They got to play hard. I mean, I'm not saying they have to play harder, but they've got to do it. It will work, and don't do trick plays. Just work it. If the running plays work, stay with the running play. Don't fix it unless it's broke, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Second down, McDougall with time, looking for Stiegel, and he comes down with the football again in Argo territory at the 52. Milt Stiegel fattening his statistics, well over 100 yards on the day. 3-minute warning's been given to season high for Milt Stiegel, 132 yards on 7 catches. That's the good news for Winnipeg. The bad news, all other receivers, 3 catches, 17 yards. And one of those catches by Dexter Dawson was for no yards.
Well, at this point, you want to try to get in the end zone if you're Winnipeg, but I think you would like to try to extend Stiegel's streak with 8 consecutive. You want to go to 9 consecutive games with a touchdown. I'd try to get that streak going.
Here's Stiegel on the reverse. He's looking downfield to throw. Now has to pull it down and gets down to the 50. A couple of yards on the pickup. Well, we're just monitoring the out-of-town proceedings for you as well. Low scoring at Taylor Field, where we assume the wind is blowing as it is here in Winnipeg. And the Alouettes up by a touchdown as they try to keep pace with the Argos, stay 2 points back in the race for first. Second down and 7 for McDougall. Rush on, gets it away, and it's intercepted. Charles Anthony has the pick. Anthony knocked down at the 41-yard line, and the Argos take over there.
And I mean, I'm not a quarterback, but sometimes you wonder. I mean, it looks like McDougall comes back and he's actually telegraphing where he's throwing. He's looking one way. He's not looking anybody off. Dave, you probably can allude to that more, but I mean, he looks like he's programmed to one guy. He's looking at him.
Well, it's a sprint out, and they have the blitz on, and the blitz will force a quarterback to throw the ball a little bit quicker, load things up a little quicker. It's just thrown behind, and O'Bannon can't get the bit back to knock it down. That's what this Toronto defense does, is it just forces you into a feeling of not being comfortable. You know, you see him get hit from behind on the blitz. Marcelo Simmons is coming and makes the 4th throw.
Looks like Doug Flutie's going all the way. Back in there. The give to Clements. And there's room for Pinball to roll. Flag is down as Clements still dancing inside the 20.
Well, they're going to get a hold up here, I believe, on Pierre Vercheval. These guys are just teeing off now, going downfield, looking for somebody to hit. It's getting ugly. It's getting nasty out there. If they get a chance to take a shot on them. The interesting thing will be now, Doug Flutie made a comment. You get a chance to hit Robert Davis, take his head off. Are his offensive linemen going to try and look for him and try and settle a score from last week?
I like the fact that you thought the rivalry was heating up between these two teams, like you used to like the Toronto Argonauts when you played in Winnipeg.
Oh, I've never, you know what, they've always had that swagger, only because they've been good football teams. They always have been good, but they always had that swagger, and you just wanted to knock them off and defeat them and bring them back to earth, but they're still tops.
Clemens again after the holding call. Shante Peoples dragging him down. Chris Vargas was saying that yesterday. The Argo defense plays with arrogance, and he was saying that in a complimentary way.
Well, Shante Peoples, who's just played a whale of a game today again, one of the things when you're on one side of the ball, he just follows the pulling tackle, Willie Williams. Wherever Willie's going, the ball carrier's sure to go, and he just follows it right down to the plate.
Boy, Peoples has been around the football all day long. Clock running. Down to 1:20 to go. And Pinball gets the carry again, and he's tough to bring down, isn't he?
He's tough, but all they're trying to do is they're just having fun. I mean, this is what we talked about earlier. Willie Williams again does the same thing. He's pulling from his left tackle position. All he's doing is he's running to the right, finding the first person after the center to block, and he's just taking, they're having fun. They're just trying to take shots at people now.
Well, Jeff Reinfeld's got to be proud of his defense, the way they played here in the second half, but I'll be honest with you, we've seen Toronto run the football more in this half than they've run all year long, and they're really trying to milk the clock. After that scoring threat they had early in the fourth quarter, they really have not tried to do anything with the football.
Vanderjagt. And here's Stiegel. Nice move by Stiegel. Now can he get outside? Got a big block. Dimitrition forces him back inside and finally brings him down. Play by Dwayne Dimitrition, but Milt Stiegel's across midfield into Argo territory, 54 yards.
Mr. Everything for the Bombers is doing it again. If he's not catching the ball, he's running the ball back on special teams. And wow, I mean, you just gotta love this guy. His work ethic. He makes some great moves. Freezes Mike O'Shea, comes, gets some blocks downfield, but he actually does a lot of this.
Big block by Robert Davis right there. He frees him, and Brad Elberg actually is going to make the tackle right here. Elberg comes in and he makes the tackle as Dimitrition gets an assist.
Here's Tyrone Montgomery. Pushed out of bounds by Antonio Bonner. Well, you'll put an asterisk on the streak now, but for Milt Stiegel, he now has 10 consecutive games where he's had a play for over 50 yards. 9 of them were games in which he had catches for 50 yards or more. And today he hasn't done that, but he has a 54-yard punt return. So he's a big play guy.
Well, if I'm the quarterback here, Chris, I try to make the play to get him the ball, let him try to score a touchdown. Try to send him down the seam for a couple of plays and try to get him the ball, extend his streak.
In the final minute, they give to Montgomery, trying to get 100 yards rushing, and he'll have it now. Outside and stepping out at the 36.
And this is a Toronto defense that has only given up 74 yards rushing a game. And I think that the team that plays Toronto next week is going to be looking at these films and finding out what Winnipeg did up front that got them the success that Winnipeg did get running the ball.
So it's BC next week, and they're going to see Big Sean Millington coming at him. He's a little bit different back, but he can hurt you just the same. Had a 212-yard game earlier this year against Saskatchewan, so they're going to see a guy can run the football.
First down at the 35 with 35 seconds to go, and McDougall going down. Underneath Andrew Stewart and Demetrius Maxey.
Well, Andrew Stewart gets his 7th sack of the year, leading the Toronto Argonauts right now. I mean, they just have players who just take turns coming up with big plays. If it's not Reggie Gibbons, it's Stewart. If it's not Stewart, it's Waldrop. I mean, they just take turns alternating.
5th straight game for Stewart that he's had a sack. McDougall to Montgomery. And sure tackle by the safety, Lester Smith.
I want to go back to something that Dave Archer said, though, and it's not a bone of contention here. You're saying that Toronto hasn't really thrown the football after that failed attempt, and you kind of think, if I'm reading you right, that they were kind of taking it a little easy on them. I feel that by running the ball, you are punishing a team even more by the fact that now the game is out of hand. What I'm trying to do is beat you up physically.
There's a third down throw to Montgomery, and he's pushed out of bounds short of the first, and they'll turn it over on downs once again with 10 yards to go, or 10 seconds to go in the game. And it looks like the activity Mark Lee talked about behind the Argo bench is continuing as Don Matthews looks up into the stands.
Well, talking to some of the people that have played here, and Dave, you might be able to echo this, they say that those fans on the east side can be some of the rowdiest and sometimes some of the rudest people that you can come across in the CFL.
I would concur with that. Yeah, they can be very difficult, and that's part of the home field advantage.
I mean, I'm not going to say the fact that half of them are my neighbors, but hey.
Well, they'll now run the clock down here. I think even our own Scott Oak has talked about the East Siders being the toughest crowd he's had to deal with in the CFL.
Well, Winnipeg fans, I'm sure, disappointed they haven't gone through a season like this in a long time, and it's pretty disappointing for them.
Well, that'll do it. And the Toronto Argonauts have won 7 in a row. Don Matthews' team continues on cruise control at 12-2.
Well, the schedule begins now for Toronto. In my mind, their drive to the Grey Cup, and they're going to have to play some difficult opponents. BC's up next. Montreal 2 of the last 3 weeks.
And a nice handshake between the two coaches.